Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Morgana Radio, where I, your host, Morgana Ray, interview the world's most fascinating thought leaders on money, love, and magic. And today we have a super magical guest, Eva Gregory. I've been a fan of Eva for almost 20 years. Back in the baby days of my own coaching practice, Eva and her gal pal Gina were like the cool kids. And and really big into the law of attraction and manifesting and wealth. And we all kind of knew who you were and thought you guys were so cool. You were the big kids.
Oh, that is so funny.
Isn't that great? So let me tell you a little bit about Eva Gregory. Eva is a recognized authority on the law of attraction, and she's a mentor to spiritual entrepreneurs, meaning coaches, healers, and holistic practitioners. Her passion is helping spiritual entrepreneurs go from chaos to clarity, and from clarity to cash flow by learning how to tap into their own inner guidance and merge it with proven practical business strategies to create enlightened businesses of purpose, passion, and prosperity. Oh, she's author of The Feel-Good Guide to Prosperity and Life Lessons for Mastering the Law of Attraction, co-authored with Jack Canfield. And I gotta say, I was having this conversation with a friend yesterday about, and this is coming up a lot, there are, oh my God, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of coaches that didn't exist when we began.
Right.
And by the way, that's a good thing. It makes, it's like, it makes, in a way, the whole industry so much easier when you don't have to educate every person you meet. The problem is most of the people out there calling themselves coaches aren't, and they don't know what coaching is, and they just have a formula and they tell you to do something, and good luck and your fault if it doesn't work for you. And the reason that I asked you to be on the show and why I think it's so important is because you're all about inner guidance and mindset. And in my experience, that works better.
Oh, for sure.
Than doing what somebody else tells you to do. Yeah, learn the processes. You must educate yourself and have choices. But what's going to work for you, is really going to be specific to you. So yay, Eva.
Yeah. My whole thing is I really do believe that you are your own best authority when you understand some certain fundamental things. One being, of course, the law of attraction, understanding how that works. But even with that, there's still, when you can tap into your own inner guidance and be able to say, how does this resonate with me? It doesn't mean necessarily that someone else is wrong. It just isn't right for you. Okay.
Yes.
And that's the big thing where I see so many people get tripped up when I had a perfect example. I had a mentor and I remember interviewing him and went to my community. And I remember at the end of it saying, I just love you. And someone dropped $6,000 to work with him. She came into the interview at the very end of the interview just because of what I said. Okay, which speaks to how important it is that we really stay in integrity with our word and, all of that good stuff. However, here's what she did. She worked with him and there were things that did not resonate, but she said, I paid $6,000. I'm going to do everything he says exactly by the book. And of course, she suffered as a result of that. She didn't get the results that she was looking for. And she came to me and she said, I don't understand. Why is this working for you? Because I know certain things don't resonate. I said, because I don't take what doesn't resonate. I take what resonates. I make the rest my own. And yeah, I might pay big bucks and way more than that these days for my mentors. And it's useful. It's extremely valuable. But you've got to understand that not everything everyone else says is right for you. And that's where you must stand in your own authority and really stand firm for what's in alignment with your spirit and with your values and what's important to you. And it's not a waste of the money if you don't do everything. I'd say if you get one or two things that really works for you, you've got your money's worth. But you've got to step into your own power and claim it.
Yeah. By the way, I think I know who the coach is, and he didn't resonate with me, and I never made a penny doing his stuff because it wasn't a good match.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. I'm so glad, though, that I mean, it's our job at all times to make sure that we get value because it's our life and our business.
Right.
What do you, and I think I ignored some gut impulses because I'm what my husband would call a mark. I'm really easy to sell to.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you...
Miss Morgana, you're going to stop that right now.
Yeah. So what do you see hindering some of us folks from tapping into our inner guidance?
Well, I think there's like three major areas that I see people do this. One is that you're in your head. So if you are one that lives from your head space and not your heart space, this is where you start to lose the connection with your inner guidance. And you can be so busy solving your problems and you're into all the action, and you could be doing some things right. You could be doing all the wrong things. But if you're doing it from up here and you're not really tapped into how is this working? How is this serving me from my heart? Then it's not going to work. And I'll tell you, I went through this. Robin, my mate, and he had a software company. And at the time, everything was going to hell in a handbasket in that company. And it was around that time that I learned about the law of attraction. But we had been in action for like 5 years, doing all the right things that were supposed to help us with our beautiful software program we had. We were laying off staff. We weren't paying ourselves so that we could retain the crew we had left. The morale was non-existent. Creditors were after us personally. They were after us in the business. The stress levels were high. And even while that was going on, it was after I had learned about law of attraction. Because people know intellectually about law of attraction, right? And it was like my focus was on there's not enough money, and what if we can't meet payroll and we can't pay our bills, and fear of being evicted. And then one night, like 3 a.m, one of those crazy, usually it's the biggest and baddest and hairiest when you wake up at 3 a.m, the panic attacks start.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but this was one time and something different happened. And I got this download and it said, Eva, you know about law of attraction and you're not living it. And I got this download to stop all the action we were doing and to focus on shifting the energy in the company, starting with me. And so I did. I mean, I tell you, I felt like we had nothing to lose. There was nothing. Where else was it? We tried everything else. And I took this prosperity account process into the company, and we played this game. And it was based on an Abraham Hicks process called the prosperity game. And we started with this huge spreadsheet, $10,000. And so every day, everybody in the company would say, well, we have $10,000. What would you spend that $10,000 on in the company today? And everybody would post what they would spend it on, right? The next day was $11,000 and $12,000. So every day was $1,000 more. And the thing about it was unexpected. The thing that shifted, and it was about shifting the energy, not making the money. I just want you to know that was about the energy, getting us back in alignment. We stopped all the dog and pony shows, all the venture capital presentations, all that kind of stuff. And we did what we needed to just to kind of keep the doors open. But the morale started to shift. People were nice to each other. And it just, the whole energy in the company shifted. And within 9 months of doing that process, someone approached us to sell the company lock, stock, and barrel. And we literally went from living almost no paycheck to no paycheck because we were trying to keep our employees paid what was left of them, to successfully selling that business for a hefty sum of money. And the day it changed hands, Robin and I were in the Grenadine Islands with friends, island hopping on a 42-foot catamaran. That is the power of law of attraction. That's the power of not only law of attraction, but listening, really, because we all have these gut feels. We all get these ideas. We think it's our imagination or that we're making it up. But that's what he did. So I was in my head until I shifted that. So that's the first thing that I see people do. The second thing is a lot of people are asking for help, but they're not listening to the guidance that they're being given. And I like to use the story of, and you probably heard it's an old joke about the flood, and the flood waters are rising, and the man is on the stoop of the house, and a man in a truck drives by, and he says, "Get in and I'll save you." And the man says, "No, I've got faith in God. I'll wait for God to save me." And the flood waters keep rising, and the man goes to the second floor of his house, and a motorboat comes by and says, "Get in." And he says, "No, I'll wait for God to save me." And of course, the flood waters keep rising, and now he's on his roof. And the helicopter comes by and drops down a ladder and says, climb up, we're here to rescue you. And he says, no, I'll wait for God to save me. And of course, eventually he drowned. And when he got to heaven, he asked God, where did I go wrong? I had perfect faith in you and you let me drown. And God says, well, what more do you want from me? I sent you a truck, I sent you a boat, I sent you a helicopter. And that's what we do. We have this, we ask for it, but then we don't see it when it's right in front of us. Right. And so that's one of the things I see. And I just say, where are you struggling in your life? Maybe you're being shown the way and given the answers, but you're so fixed on your solution or your answers looking a certain way that you don't even see or hear it when it's being presented.
So do you have like a client example with that?
Oh, do I ever. So, and unfortunately, it all came down on her right before she came to work with me. But and that, which I'm going to tear that story, but I want to bring it into that this is really what happened with her, that she wasn't trusting. She was ignoring her answers. But this is someone who had actually already had a 7-figure business when she came to me, and she had decided to bring a business partner into the business. And so, of course, she said, I did all the right things. I did my due diligence. I hired an attorney. I drew up letters of intent. I did the background search on this business partner. And she did everything that she was supposed to do, right, and take on a business partner. But when I was talking to her, she says, in retrospect, I had this sick feeling all along that this wasn't right. But she didn't listen to that because she said, no, I've done all the right things. So therefore, everything on paper looks good. The attorneys were giving a go. And when she brought the business partner on, right? And when she got ready to sell her business, because of some of those actions of her business partner, her company was worthless. So it was worthless. The company's valuation had been driven right into the ground. Now, practically, she'd done everything right. And if anybody on the outside looking in would have said, yep, she was right. It looks great. And then as we started working together, she said, I see what the outcome would have been if I just stopped and employed the principles that you teach for just 10 minutes. 10 minutes could have meant a 7-figure success story instead of a 7-figure mistake.
Yeah.
And it's that's learning how to really tap in and understand your guidance and trust it. And I have to say, as painful as that was, she did learn how to do that. And of course, the guidance she got, and again, this is anybody looking in on the outside would say, are you nuts? But she said, I'm not. She dropped the lawsuit. She dropped the lawsuit against her business partner, and she just released all that anger, and she focused on rebuilding her business, and she's highly successful again today. But that takes a lot of guts and a lot of courage and a lot of trust and a lot of faith to do that. But that's the work that I do. That's what I teach you. You've got to understand that. You've got to start learning to listen to yourselves. It's so important.
Totally.
So important.
So, but you said something very interesting. So I want some clarification on this. Like, get out of your head, but you're also talking about mindset. So can you talk about the difference?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. So it's mindset and inner guidance together. And here's why this is so important. In fact, 90% or more of your success comes from your divine guidance and your mindset. It's those two elements together that are going to transform your life and your business. So, and I'll show you why this is important. So let's look at this from the perspective of law of attraction. And my mindset formula is thought plus emotional charge plus action equals outcome. So you have a thought or a belief, and that thought or that belief creates an emotional charge or a feeling within you. And how you're feeling emotionally will determine the action you take or you don't take, which results in a certain outcome. So, for example, if my thought is, I'm afraid I won't succeed, or what if I fail, the emotional charge you have as a result of that thought, it's one of fear, right? You're scared. And so because of that, the actions you choose are going to come from that place of fear. You're afraid you won't succeed. You might procrastinate, or you'll let opportunities pass you by even when they're being offered. And as a result, you don't get your work out there. You don't make the impact that you are here to make. And then you don't have what you have to offer, people can't benefit from. So as a result of your mindset, even when you're being guided to a bigger game, you play small, you don't listen to the guidance, and then you get small results. And that's why it's so important that you blend mindset with inner guidance, because you can be guided all day long, but if your mindset is like, I know, but I can't do it, then you don't listen to your guidance. So in order to act on the guidance you're given, it's so important that you make sure your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions are in alignment. Now that puts you in the place to attract the success that you're looking for.
And I think that you are such a walking example of that, because I really believe that human beings respond more to who you're being than what you're saying and doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I would just say, if you're not experiencing the success or the struggling, if you're struggling in your life, your mindset is running you. Your mindset's running you. And so we want to release the ego's mindset and really commit to the abundant mindset of our soul or our inner guidance.
Right. Do you have a tool for us to get started with that transformation?
Absolutely. So there's a couple of things. There's the actual formula, and then there's a process that I use. So when you're really going to shift your mindset, and it's super simple. And I just want to say, do not underestimate the power of this very seemingly super simple game.
Okay.
And it's called the What If Up game. It's one of my favorite tools. It has been one of my favorite tools for years and years and years. It works for me. It works for my clients. And I'm just saying, give it a chance. So what that is that anytime you have, we call it, so let me just start. So there's a thing called the what if down game. And that's when, like, what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? And that might not be in a question. It might just be like, things will come up like, it's so hard to make money. Or you can't be spiritual and be wealthy. Or I'm no good at business, or I can't charge a lot and get it for what the value that I'm providing, or people are reluctant to pay me what I'm worth. Big ones, sales and marketing, are sleazy and manipulative. And it's true, it can be, but it's not a declarative statement. Or what if I put myself out there and I get rejected? Okay, so now those are like the what if down kind of comments that we get. So here's
I'm feeling like a puddle on the floor.
Exactly. So if we take the formula, so that was the thought. Now, what is the kind of emotion that brought up in you? Things like anger, resignation, fear, frustration, despair, sadness, like you were saying, like, bleh, right? And so when you're feeling that way, you have that thought, you have those feelings, then think about the decisions you've made that resulted in actions you've taken from that place, those negative places. Were those decisions made from inspiration or desperation or fear, right? And so that's when you're not acting on your truth, you're not acting on your potential, you're not trusting your guidance. And how do you know what your truth is? It always feels good to you. Your soul, your higher self will always let you know when you're focused on your truth or not, based on how you feel. And so now if we go back to that list, now here's where the what if up game comes in. You change it, you shift it. What if it's really easy to make money? What if it's so easy to make money? How does that feel? And if it feels better, then it's your truth. And that emotional relief you feel, that's your higher self. That's the guidance affirming that. What if you can be spiritual and be wealthy? How does that feel? If it feels great, awesome. You just discovered another truth. And so you just keep shifting it around. What if I am good at business? What if I can charge what I'm worth? What if people are willing and eager to pay me what I'm worth? What if sales and marketing was authentic and with integrity? Or what if I put myself out there and I'm embraced? And so just feel into that. And the moment that you can feel that difference, you've just shifted your energy, literally in the moment. This is something that will change the quality of your life on a dime if you let it, if you play this game. Will your environment have changed? Will your bank account have changed in the moment that you've done this? No, it hasn't. But you've shifted your energy so that what you're now creating is a very different near future than it was when you were in those places of negativity and that what if down energy. Beautiful. Powerful process.
Yes, thank you. you have a gift for our audience. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, actually, what I have for you is the Mindset Mastery Formula itself. So you'll be able to download that along with the spelled out the whole what if up process. So in more detail. And along with that, when you go to download that, you'll also get a report and an opportunity to join a webinar that takes all of this stuff we've talked about and really go into a lot more detail and how do you apply that in your businesses as spiritual entrepreneurs, coaches, healers, holistic practitioners.
Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. And the download link will be posted as usual, excuse me, with Eva's interview at morganaradio.com. And if you've been listening to this on iTunes, surprise, it was also recorded on video so you can see what we actually look like and the way we wave our arms around. And absolutely take advantage of Eva's gift. It is not an accident that Eva has been doing this for so long. Most coaches really, they come, they try, they don't last long. But the people who've really been doing this for a long time you're in business because you get results. And the more you coach, the more you know about what you're doing. So Eva really is an authority on this. One of the most popular coaches in our business, and totally take advantage of this awesome gift and be part of her little, or should say, big magical circle. So do you have any parting words of wisdom before we sign off?
Yeah, I just would really want to say that whatever's going on in your life, whatever might be working or not working, that when you start to understand the power of focusing on what you do want and really, I'll tell you, the biggest thing too, you've heard it before, being in massive gratitude and appreciation, you can shift that around. And the biggest thing I have to say is never give up. Never give up, never give up, never give up. My God. That was one of the things I was so determined to know that this stuff worked, that regardless of what was going on, I just kept persevering. And I promise you, if you don't give up, you will get to the results that you're looking for. Please never give up.
Thank you so much.